Olympic figure skaters must overcome countless challenges before they can earn glory on the world stage. But for some of these champions, such challenges prove to be tragic, both on and off the ice. The scandal that engulfed the 1994 Winter Olympics remains the ice skating world's most infamous. The ongoing fascination with its blend of sporting rivalry, shocking violence, and survival even spawned an Oscar-winning adaptation, I, Tonya.
I mean, come on! What kind of friggin' person bashes in their friend's knee? Who would do that to a friend?
The drama began just weeks before the Lillehammer Games, when Nancy Kerrigan, a frontrunner to win the gold medal, was struck in the knee with a police baton following a practice session. This was shocking in and of itself, but the plot thickened when it was discovered the attack had been orchestrated by Jeff Gillooly, the ex-husband of fellow Olympian Tonya Harding. Harding denied any involvement in the crime and was even allowed to compete in the Games, where she finished 8th. Kerrigan, who made a remarkable recovery, grabbed the silver, but soon after, Harding pled guilty in court to conspiracy to hinder prosecution. She was subsequently stripped of the National Championships gold she won earlier that year and given a lifetime ban from the US Figure Skating Association. She was also fined $160,000, ordered to serve 500 hours of community service, and given a 3-year probation sentence. Harding maintained that she knew nothing about the attack, which was committed by her ex's associate, Shane Stant, but did admit she sensed that Gillooly was planning something. Harding apologized to Kerrigan's face in a joint interview years later.
Nancy, I want to apologize again for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. I say that from the bottom of my heart, I really do.
The ice skating world was devastated in 2025 when 14 members of its community lost their lives in a collision between an Army helicopter and American Airlines jet over Washington, D.C.'s Potomac River. A total of 67 people died in the tragedy, including one-time world champions Evgenia Shishkova and Vadim Naumov. In January 2026, Shishkova and Naumov's son, figure skater Maxim Naumov, was selected to represent Team USA at the Games in Milan. The former junior national champion had initially considered quitting his sport after losing both his parents, but eventually decided the best way to honor their memory was to fulfill their dreams of him becoming an Olympian. Referencing the lasting love of his parents during an interview on The Today Show, he poignantly explained that he doesn't have the strength, passion, drive, or dedication of one person anymore. Instead, he said,
"It's 3 people."
The Potomac air collision of 2025 wasn't the first such tragedy to befall America's ice skating community. In 1961, the entirety of the US figure skating team lost their lives when the plane they were traveling on to the World Championships in Prague crashed close to the Brussels airport. All 72 passengers who boarded the flight in New York, as well as one individual on the ground, died in what was the first ever commercial Boeing 707 crash. Remarkably, the cause was never identified, although the general consensus is that a faulty tail stabilizer mechanism was to blame. Laurence Owen was undoubtedly the most high-profile victim, having just won the North American ladies singles title just 3 days earlier. Tragically, her mum, Maribel Owen, who held the same title in the late 1930s, and her sister were also on the doomed journey. Then President John F. Kennedy, who was friends with another victim, skater Dudley Richards, said in a statement, "Our country has sustained a great loss of talent and grace which had brought pleasure to people all over the world." Adam Rippon made history at the 2018 Pyeongchang Olympic Games when he competed as the USA's first openly gay male Winter Olympian. The figure skater continued to break new ground soon after when he picked up a bronze medal in the team event, but his presence came at a cost. During an interview on iHeartRadio's Dominic Natti show later that same year, Rippon disclosed that he was the target of several death threats simply for appearing at the Olympics. Luckily, the pioneer didn't let such worrying messages affect him. Referring to the people who issued the threats, he said,
"They have a lot of time, and I'm going to tell you, I wish I had that much time to just, waste, but I don't."
In 2020, Rippon experienced homophobia from a fellow skater after he donated $1,000 to black trans advocacy group Okra Project. In response to the charitable act, Russian Alexei Yugudin tweeted, "Adam, when will you die? Earth's mistake." The American fought back by donating another $1,000 to the organization, only this time in Yugudin's name. While Adam Rippon and other professional athletes who identify as queer were able to come out on their own terms, another gay male skater from generations earlier was outed without his consent during a time when he had just achieved his career pinnacle. In 1976, a reporter disclosed John Curry's sexuality to the world almost immediately after he earned gold at the Innsbruck Winter Olympics. Curry had freely spoken to journalist John Vinokur before his triumph about the fact he was gay. However, he allegedly believed these discussions were strictly off the record. So he was left blindsided when details of his private life were splashed all over the tabloids. He later said in the statement, "A lot of people said I came out at the Olympics, but I didn't. I never intentionally set out to make a statement." Vinokur, however, remained unrepentant, remarking that he was just abiding by the rules of standard journalism, and there was no expectation of copy approval. Curry, who confirmed his sexuality at a press conference following the exposé, was diagnosed with HIV in 1987. When it developed into AIDS 3 years later, he moved back in with his mother.
And he came home and he just said he was ill. And that was it.
Sadly, he eventually died of an AIDS-related heart attack at the age of 44. The skating world was left reeling once again in 2020 when Ekaterina Alexandrovskaya died at her Moscow home at 20 years old. The athlete, who had competed at the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics with partner Harley Windsor, was said to have jumped from a 6th-floor window. Hailing from Russia, Alexandrovskaya gained Australian citizenship in 2017, the same year she and Windsor were crowned World Junior Champions. In an Instagram tribute, Windsor shared that he was distraught by the news, writing, "The amount we had achieved during our partnership is something I can never forget and will always hold close to my heart." The Australian team's chef de mission, Ian Chesterman, also expressed his sadness in a statement. It read in part, "She was quiet and humble in her manner, but incredibly determined to be the best she could be. Life since the Games has not been easy for her, and this is another timely reminder of just how fragile life is." Alexandrovskaya had been forced to retire in 2019 after a series of injuries and shortly before her death was diagnosed with epilepsy. Canada lost one of its greatest female skaters in 2023, when Alexandra Paul died in a horrific car crash at the age of 31. The athlete, who represented her country with future husband Mitchell Islam at the Sochi Winter Olympics, was instantly killed when her stationary car was slammed into by a truck on an Ontario road. Remarkably, her infant son, Charles, who was also in the same vehicle, only suffered minor injuries. An official statement from Skate Canada read, "As we remember Alexandra's contributions to the sport, we also reflect on the camaraderie and sportsmanship she exemplified. She was not only an accomplished athlete, but also a true role model for aspiring skaters, demonstrating the values of resilience, perseverance, and sportsmanlike conduct." Paul, who picked up a silver medal with Islam at the 2010 World Junior Figure Skating Championships, had retired from the sport in 2016. After graduating from the University of Windsor's law school, she began her second career as an associate lawyer. Just 4 years after winning the bronze medal at the Sochi Winter Olympics, Kazakhstani skater Denis Ten was rushed to the hospital after being stabbed in the thigh by 2 assailants attempting to rob his car mirrors. After saying that he was clinically dead when he arrived, doctors told reporters,
"All efforts of the clinic and the city were made to try to save his life."
He was officially pronounced dead just a few hours later at the age of 25. Kazakhstan's president, Nursultan Nazarbayev, said in a tribute, "His outstanding achievements glorified our country and helped popularize sport among youth. Denis was not only a prominent athlete, whose talent was recognized and revered in many countries of the world, but also a man of marked individuality, a true patriot." One of the nastiest on-the-rink injuries occurred during a 1986 practice session between Doug Ladret and Christine Huff. The former suffered a fractured skull when he saved the latter from falling headfirst onto the ice from a botched throw, in turn hitting his own head with a severe thump. Although Ladret initially only experienced clogged ears from the accident, a medical inspection at Hamilton General Hospital confirmed that things were actually a lot more serious. He recalled to Peak, "I can hear Coach Kerry Leach in the hallway with the doctor saying, 'We've got a competition in Moscow in a couple of weeks. When can he get back on the ice?' And the doctor said, 'After the night, he can think about skating after that. He'll have to make it through the night first.'" Ladret remembered the look of concern on Leach's face, a man whose mindset he described as, "There's only one way off the ice, you better be bleeding or dead." But luckily the skater made a full recovery and within 5 weeks had returned to the rink, albeit with the aid of a helmet. Alongside partner Jane Torval, Christopher Dean is responsible for one of Great Britain's greatest Winter Olympic achievements and one of the skating world's most memorable routines. Indeed, the pair instantly claimed legendary status when their dramatic performance to Ravel's Bolero saw them win the gold medal at the 1984 Games in Sarajevo. But he wasn't able to enjoy his success with his mum. Mavis Dean walked out on her family when Christopher was just 10 after discovering that her husband Colin had been having an affair. Recalling the traumatic time in his shared memoir, Our Life on Ice, the skater wrote, "My mother had just seemed to disappear, and I was never once given any news as to her whereabouts or well-being." In fact, it was only in his 40s that Christopher was able to establish contact again.
My mum, I think, regretted every day of her life that she left me.
Alongside skating partner Anton Sikorilegia, Russia's Elena Berezhnaya won a silver medal at the 1998 Winter Olympics in Lugano. She then went all the way at the 2002 Games in Salt Lake City, a remarkable feat considering she once suffered an injury so severe that doctors feared she may never walk again. The incident in question happened at a 1996 Latvian practice session, when then-partner Oleg Sliakov accidentally struck Berezhnaya's skull with a toe pick during a side-by-side camel spin. The Russian was forced to undergo 2 different brain surgeries to extract the fragments of bone caused by the 2-inch cut. She subsequently experienced both movement and speech difficulties and was only allowed to leave hospital a month later. Following further rehab in her hometown of St. Petersburg, Berezhnaya returned to skating just 2 months after her horrific injury. She told Time, "I didn't have any false dreams about the future. All I thought about was those first steps." She credited Sikoriligia's support for her recovery too, noting how she was, quote, "skinny, shaved, half alive, almost a skeleton," when Anton cared for her. The pair then decided to join forces on the ice rink, and the rest is history. German skater Mandy Woetzel also discovered how perilous the side-by-side camel spin can be. The German skater was hospitalized for 3 months due to a head injury suffered during the risky move. In 1994, she and partner Ingo Steuer had to pull out of the 1994 Lillehammer Winter Olympics when she hit the ice with her chin following a death spiral slip. Steuer has also experienced his fair share of setbacks, having undergone no fewer than 6 operations on his knee. In 1997, he tore his right shoulder ligaments after being hit with a car's side-view mirror while standing on a street edge. The pair's rotten luck, however, changed at the 1998 Games in Nagano, when they picked up the bronze medal. Perhaps sensing that they should quit while they were ahead, Steuer and Woetzel retired from the sport.